Words of Sri Aurobindo. Importance of food in sadhana. I think the importance of sattvic food from the spiritual point of view has been exaggerated. Food is rather a question of hygiene, and many of the sanctions and prohibitions laid down in ancient religions had more a hygienic than a spiritual motive. The Gita's definitions seem to point in the same direction. Tamasic food, it seems to say, is what is stale or rotten with the virtue gone out of it. Rajasic food is that which is too acrid, pungent, etc., heats the blood and spoils the health. Sattvic food is what is pleasing, healthy, etc. It may well be that different kinds of food nourish the actions of the different gunas and so indirectly are helpful or harmful apart from their physical action. But that is as far as one can go confidently. What particular eatables are or are not sattvic is another question and more difficult to determine. Spiritually, I should say that the effect of food depends more on the occult atmosphere and influences that come with it than on anything in the food itself. Vegetarianism is another question altogether. It stands, as you say, on your will not to do harm to the more conscious forms of life for the satisfaction of the belly. As for the question of practicing to take all kinds of food with equal rasa, it is not necessary to practice, nor does it really come by practice. One has to acquire equality within in the consciousness, and as this equality grows, one can extend it or apply it to the various fields of the activity of the consciousness. Food and sleep in sadhana. The first thing I say to people when they want not to eat or sleep is that no yoga can be done without sufficient food and sleep. See the Gita on this point. Fasting or sleeplessness make the nerves morbid and excited and weaken the brain and lead to delusions and fantasies. The Gita says, yoga is not for one who eats too much or sleeps too much, neither is it for one who does not eat or does not sleep. But if one eats and sleeps suitably, yuktahari yukta nidraha, then one can do its best. It is the same with everything else. How often have I said that excessive retirement was suspect to me, and that to do nothing but meditate was a lopsided and therefore unsound sadhana. Yogically, psychophysically, etc., stomach, heart and intestine lodge the vital movements, not the physical consciousness. It is there that anger, fear, love, hate, and all other psychological privileges of the animal tumble about and upset physical and moral digestion. The Mooladhara is the seat of the physical consciousness proper. Difficulty of sleep in meditation. When one tries to meditate, there is a pressure to go inside, lose the waking consciousness and wake inside in a deep inner consciousness. But at first the mind takes it for a pressure to go to sleep, since sleep is the only kind of inner consciousness to which it has been accustomed. In yoga, by meditation, sleep is therefore often that first difficulty. But if one perseveres, then gradually the sleep changes to an inner conscious state. Transformation of the physical. The transformation to which we aspire is too vast and complex to come at one stroke. It must be allowed to come by stages. The physical change is the last of these stages and is itself a progressive process. The inner transformation cannot be brought about by physical means either of a positive or a negative nature. On the contrary, the physical change itself can only be brought about by a descent of the greater supramental consciousness into the cells of the body. Till then, at least, the body and its supporting energies have to be maintained in part by the ordinary means, food, sleep, etc. Food has to be taken in the right spirit with the right consciousness. Sleep has to be gradually transformed into the yogic repose. A premature and excessive physical austerity, tapasya, may endanger the process of the sadhana by establishing a disturbance and abnormality of the forces in the different parts of the system. A great energy may pour into the mental and vital parts, but the nerves and the body may be overstrained and lose the strength to support the play of these higher energies. This is the reason why an extreme physical austerity is not included here as a substantive part of the sadhana.